Christian, let's get straight into it. It's the engine question again with Red Bull. How much of a gutting announcement? Obviously you and Helmut and the team would have known before everybody else did, but it must not soften the disappointment.
Yeah, of course it's disappointing. I think it's disappointing for Formula One to lose a brand like, Honda, and we're grateful for them letting us know in plenty of time. So we've still got a year and a half left within our relationship, but it poses some big questions, for the future. But we've really enjoyed working with Honda. The collaboration has been great so far, and there's an assurance that they're going to push all the way to the finish of the relationship at the end of next year.
You helped them into being a race-winning, potentially a championship-winning engine. After all the struggles with McLaren, after all the insults from Fernando Alonso and others, after all the pain, you've got them to be, helped them to be, and they've done the work to be a winning engine again. So why? Why now?
I think, look, it's a tough world at the moment, isn't it? I mean, many things are changing. They've made their reasoning clear that their automotive, investment and business is going in a different direction to that of Formula One, and it poses some questions for Formula One to consider about future engine technologies. I think that it's brought into the spotlight. What is the future of Formula One engines, and should we even consider, bringing a new technology forward from the 2026 introduction date?
All right, well, let's pick up on that. What do you think we should do with engines, Formula One should do with engines next?
Well, I think if you look at the complexity of these engines, no manufacturer would come into Formula One under the current rules. And I think that we have to reduce significantly the costs. We have to reduce the variability between the engines. And I think Formula One has decisions to make about what is the future. We have an electric series in Formula E. We have, obviously biofuels to consider and to look at, and the introduction of some of that is due in 2022. But do we look at something totally different for 2026, or even bring that forward, ideally maybe even to 2025? That could. You could consider hydrogen, you could consider, other technologies, or should Formula One just be entertainment and it be high revving, engines with an element of technology to them? So there's some fundamental questions that need to be considered.
Well, surely the logic would say, and tied up with the fact that we don't have an independent supplier like Cosworth able to fill the breach now, if the manufacturers go, that we should go back to the normally aspirated V8s that are sitting on a shelf somewhere, that are very easily amended with some element of a KERS in energy recovery system. Surely that's the way to go, isn't it? And that's what the fans want, because that's the entertaining engine.
I think whenever you hear a V8, a V10, a V12 run, it's so emotive. And I think that we have to be careful that Formula One doesn't become a dinosaur, though, that our children are still, fall in love with the sport, and it still does have a relevance. But it's a big question for Formula One. The purist in me, the fan in me, would love to go back to high revving, engines. But I think we also have a responsibility of an element of relevance. I mean, these engines currently don't have a great deal of road relevance. Yes, they're a hybrid, but in terms of the technology that they've been developed down, there's not a lot of crossover into the car market at the moment, and that, of course, for a company like Honda, is very difficult.
Okay, Red Bull have shown that they can win with Renault engines, they've shown they can win with Honda engines, so you clearly know what you're doing. What are you going to do for an engine now? Can you take the Honda engine now, rebadge it as something else and run it yourself?
Well, we have to look at all the options. We've got a bit of time to do that, to consider all of the options. I mean, one thing's for sure is we need a competitive engine. A team like Red Bull, the situation that we've been in the past, we need to be in a competitive position. We need a competitive power unit. But of course, cost is a key factor in that. Regulations are a key factor in that, and we have to explore all the options. In terms of the availability of supply, who would be prepared to supply, and obviously under what conditions. It's not a normal customer team transaction supplying a team like Red Bull.
And if it hurts your competitiveness, finally, Christian, could you lose Max?
Well, Max is committed to the team, and there's no clause within our contracts that relate to engines. It's all about being competitive. He wants to be competitive. We want to be competitive. So our goals are the same, and he has a lot of belief in the team, as we do in him. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we've got a competitive engine from 2022 onwards.